Start to make some gentle circles on the sits bones and try to relax the hip flexors as much as possible here. If it's hard to relax the hip flexors, try bringing the hands behind you and leaning back a little bit. And then circle the weight around the sits bones. And let's actually all do that hand position, placing the hands behind you. Fingertips can point any way that's most comfortable for the shoulders, and rock the weight from hand to hand, bringing extra weight into the pinky side. Bend the elbows, just waking up the hands a little bit. And then stretch the legs out in front of you and let the heels come as wide as is comfortable. Not really a straddle, just a wide Paschimottanasana. And start to walk the hands to one side and then through center to the other side. Let the feet start to windshield wiper so you don't have to resist sort of that natural direction that the feet are going to want to travel as you twist. And then come back to center. Cross the right foot in front of the left. Plant the left hand behind you and pivot into tabletop position. And take a moment to take your tiniest cat-cows that you've ever taken in your whole life and start to find the middle ground where the pelvis isn't tipping forward or tipping back, and it should be kind of a similar sensation to as when you were on your back, anchoring the pelvis down, where there's that little brightness in the core, but it doesn't feel tight, it doesn't feel like a crunch, just like you're turning the lights on. The next time you find that space, start to test it a little by sending the hips back to the heels without arching. It should feel like the glutes are almost catching the base of the pelvis, and then shift forward and lower onto the forearms and try it from the forearms just to give the wrists a little break. Take a couple of pulses here. And the next time you shift the weight forward, draw some circles, shoulder girdle around the elbows, just waking up the arms and the shoulder sockets. Make sure you're breathing. Go the opposite direction. And then lift onto one hand at a time. Bend the elbows, walk the hands in a little bit, rock the weight into the pinky side of the hand so that the knuckle of the index finger lifts. Let the hands be really soft and shift the weight from hand to hand. If you've ever seen like an elephant trunk picking something up, imagine your hands are like that. And if you haven't seen it, seek that out. And then bring equal weight into both hands and flatten the tops of the feet down. Use your next exhale to gently slide the top of the right foot back and then bring it underneath the hip once again. And take a few of these. Nothing else in the body should move besides the right leg sliding back. And this is going to turn on your deep core. Try to prevent the weight from shifting into the left knee. It's like the anti-rotational muscles that help the core get stronger here. The next time the foot glides back, gently shift the weight into the left hand, push down into the left knee, and play with letting the body stack, kind of like Urdhva Chandrasana. Take a moment to breathe and stabilize. It's okay to feel wobbly here. Moving slower is better. And then gently release back down. Cross the right knee behind the left. Lower onto the forearms and make some circles with the hips. Just massaging out the shoulders, massaging out the hips. Breathe into the back body. And then we'll do that one more time from the forearms. So keep the forearms down. Start to slide the right foot back. You can point the left knee forward a little bit more. Take a couple of those deep core leg slides. I find myself a lot more stable with my forearms down, so you might notice that your deep core is naturally more engaged here. The next time the leg slides out, shift the weight into the left forearm and start to play with opening and stacking and wobbling but feeling safe. And then release the forearm back down, slide right knee behind the left, and this time press into the hands, sending the hips back towards the heels, melting the forehead. So if it's comfortable, a little deeper, but wag your tail a little bit. And if this doesn't feel good, you can do it the original way where there's a little bit more weight further forward in the knees. And then shift the weight into the hands, uncross the legs. And we'll come up to kneeling for one moment just to give the hips some space. Sweep the arms up, palms face up. I'm turning just so you can see me. Let the arms get really wide and imagine you're like a funnel. And all of the energy of the universe is just pouring through this space, through the central channel of the body, and you don't have to do anything besides breathe. And then release back down to table, and we'll go through that same sequence on the second side. So once you've found your tabletop with soft elbows, pressure in the pinkies, start to glide the left knee in and out. Nice and slow, not letting anything in the rest of the body move. Beautiful. The next time the leg slides out, shift the weight into the right hand and take 3 breaths. That's how slowly you're moving. Take 3 breaths to gently start to stack shoulders and hips opening up away from me. Slower is stronger. Wobbling is okay. Gently release back down. Glide the left knee behind the right knee, kind of like eagle legs. And then start to circle the hips, waking up or opening up through the outer hip, especially on that right leg, but really anywhere that feels good. Try squeezing the legs together really gently. That can help this feel a little more stable. And then lower onto the forearms, and we'll do that whole sequence again on the forearms, starting with the leg glide. So left leg comes underneath the left hip, and then use your exhale to glide it out. The next time it glides out, gently shift the weight into the right forearm. Take 3 breaths to open up. It is okay to let the foot hover if that's more comfortable. It's a little bit harder, but maybe a little more spacious. And then gently release the top forearm down, cross left knee behind the right, and press the hips back towards the heels, gently rocking from side to side. The elbows might need to slide a little closer to you, and if this is not comfortable, the way we did it on the first side was on the hands and just drawing some big circles with the hips. So please do what feels spacious and useful. And then slowly float onto the palms, uncross the legs, send the hips back to the heels and glide the hands forward, melting the forehead. Breathe into the back space. And then push down into the knees to slowly start to stack the spine. Send the hips forward so that you're gently making your way up to a high kneel, palms face up. Gently scoop the air up in front of you, letting the arms come overhead nice and wide. And take a few breaths with the heart at the center of this energetic funnel. Try to be soft here and feel that deepest inner space while expanding outwardly in all directions. Release the arms down.